Hi, I'm Adam Geis.
I'm David Lurch.
We're hosts of the EdTech Distilled Podcast, which is a part of the Education Podcast Network.
Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other interesting education podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com.
What is up? It is the Hitech Podcast, back for another week. You are listening to me, Josh, one of the hosts, joined by my other host,
Will, me, Illingworth, this guy.
Look at that. Another guy. There's two of us. We are here for another week of EdTech, fun and high-tech hijinks. This is an interesting week for us. If you're listening to this intro, you're either listening to it for the first time, or you heard it last week, or the week before. That is because Will and I were at what I call it FETC. There's some debate about this.
There's no debate.
I mean, it's kind of like I would just like to point out that it's kind of like when the guy who made GIF said it was GIF.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
All right.
Anyway,
because I agree with you there. It's called a GIF. It's not a GIF. But anyways.
Yeah, I knew I would get your heartstrings on that one. We went to FETC, which is a great EdTech conference. Will and I were there for 4 days.
A lot of time. It felt like forever.
Days. Yeah, exactly. It felt like forever. But forever of fun. It was fantastic. We got to meet a bunch of new people. We got to connect with some friends of the podcast who have been on before. And so we are going to be doing 3 full episodes of content here. And this is our intro for each of those episodes. So if you heard this last week, sorry.
Skip it.
Yeah, skip it. Yeah, that's
here's your note for the next 2 weeks. Just skip this portion. It's going to be 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, just skip the first couple minutes. It's fine, okay? But we are going to be on a great journey. We get to talk to a lot of different people, and we're going to be splicing that in over these next 3 episodes. So you will get to hear from people from tools like Class VR, and you will hear from tools like Shoelace. If you don't know what Shoelace is, good, you're going to find out in one of these episodes.
It's not just the thing you tie your shoes with.
Yeah, exactly. It's got some more. We got to hear from Renee again while we were at the conference, who has been on the podcast before, and we got to hear a whole bunch of other fun people. So it's a cool experience, if I do say so myself. Will, any other words you want to leave with our listeners? At least 3 times?
Folks, that's a great point. We put in 30,000, 40,000 steps worth of effort into this conference and recording. So we hope this is fun. We hope this is informative. And please do share this content. Definitely come out to FETC 2025. You're going to hear at the very end of these 3 episodes a really good reason why. So we appreciate you coming along for the journey.
This is Indy. This is our primary grade STEM platform. So Indy has got a little color sensor, and these are silicone color tiles that are pre-programmed, so they have a directional command built into them, so students, without needing to be in front of a blue light device at those early grade levels, can learn computational thinking and like the foundations of coding and computer science. So I'm just going to put Indy on a green tile here, and he's going to run a loop. Oh, somebody moved it. We'll do it again. Yeah. Somebody hijacked my loop here. Right. There we go. And so, yeah, primarily for kindergarten through 2nd grade, in our vertical alignment is where it fits. Okay, cool. So this is the Sphero Bolt. This would be our middle level robotics platform. And just with the Bluetooth connection, Danny's going to run the program from his phone, but Bolt is just going to kind of go under the bridge here and open a gate, and then he's going to do a little celebration after he opens the gate, and then you'll see the LED matrix.
Well done, Bolt. Good job.
So we have a new building system called Blueprint, and essentially it's a truss-based system with really easy to assemble and disassemble using these red connector pegs. So students don't need tools or screwdrivers or anything, they just pop them apart. And the focus is learning about gear ratios, simple machines. We've connected this one to our upper level robotics platform called Rover. Rover integrates with any microprocessor, so Microbit, Raspberry Pi, Arduino. Okay. And so students can get really creative with what they're doing. They can program it in Python, Java, or our kind of on this. This is just traditional block programming, similar to what we used with the Bolt. Yep. But we basically just created a winch system here with combining Blueprint with the Rover. So I'll run the program here. So it's just going to raise and lower the winch. And similar to the Indy that we use, the primary level robot, Rover also has a color sensor on the bottom, and so those color tiles can trigger certain behaviors or actions from Rover when it drives over. Say like a red would be stop, a yellow would be like slow down, blue it could spin, so whatever you program it to do.
That's awesome. This is the Hitech Podcast. Will and Josh here at FETC, joined by Jeremy of eLuma. We'll learn a little bit about what eLuma is and how it can help all teachers around the place. So, what is eLuma, Jeremy?
So eLuma helps schools implement a teletherapy solution for special education, but also mental health across their multi-tiered system of supports.
Wonderful.
And it's been an incredible journey. We love being here at FETC.
Yep.
It's such a diverse crowd.
Get out here, you can't. You're bumping into everybody where you're going. Your backpack hits somebody, your knees hit somebody, you're going to learn somebody, you can just stop and say hi.
Hey, sometimes it's just good to be in person and get to rub shoulders.
Yeah, oh, it's nice to be back in person. So when we think about eLuma, you are both some tools, some services, some methodologies. What would you say is the offering a teacher is going to be engaging with most frequently?
Absolutely. A teacher's going to engage with the professionals that we match with the school.
Great.
Okay. Our platform is matching and facilitating the delivery of a remote service, whether it's a special education-based service or it's mental health for Gen Ed.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, we've partnered with Aperture to implement a universal social and emotional screener. And so teachers would be involved in that to a degree, where we're helping to interpret the data and identify actionable follow-up to that universal screening.
So if we have students who are dealing with a mental health crisis, you might be involved in that at some level. Or if they're on the journey towards a mental health issue, like we're trying to maybe identify where the students are currently, determine what interventions they need, and then help them throughout that entire process. Am I right, or am I missing the mark?
No, you got it. That's actually where MTSS comes from.
Awesome.
So many know us for our work in special education. This would be a tier 3 intervention. It's very individualized.
Okay.
MTSS, multi-tiered system of support, has 3 tiers, 1, 2, 3. And what we've done is we've taken mental health and applied the solutions to 2 and 3. Okay. So we go into a school, we work with your administration, with the PLC to identify the needs that the school has.
Right.
And then to devise a plan, usually starting with universal screening, so that you kind of know the baseline. Sure. Think of RTI for math or reading. What we want to do is we want to create a similar pathway for mental health and behavioral health. Once screening is identified universally, we're leading lessons with teachers. What we're doing is working with teachers to provide professional development, to gain mental health literacy, so that it's not as scary when situations happen. But we're also doing caregiver webinars. And then when students are referred, that's when we start to do talk therapy live with the kids.
Okay.
So that caregiver thing, you're saying that's like for the teachers?
Caregiver would be for the parents or the caregivers of the kids.
So you're kind of taking a bit more of a holistic approach
Yeah.
of getting involved with everybody involved with the student, not just being there as kind of a pass-off, but you're resourcing those around the student and helping.
100%.
Okay.
And not a Band-Aid approach. This is holistic. We want to reach at every different level. That's really awesome. So in the sense of tiers 1, 2, 3, if you would, I'm ignorant. Some of our folks may be ignorant.
I doubt it.
I knew what I know what you're talking about. It's, whatever he's about to say, I knew.
Yes.
Josh has got me. Tier 1, what's that? Where are we?
Tier 1 refers to a universal support.
Okay.
So universal screening.
Yep.
We universally screen for reading and math.
Got it.
We don't have that as a common practice for social emotional competencies or mental health yet. Other universal interventions would be co-led lessons.
Right.
Tier 2 would be targeted supports.
Got it.
And you take a full student population, and typically that's anywhere from 10 to 15% of your population. And then tier 3 is a smaller portion, and it's individualized.
Right.
Not always a special education IEP plan, but some individualized intervention, and that's about 5% of the population.
So then I'm rehashing and understanding, and our audience is following along. MTS is stage 1, tier 1 is going to be as broad as can be.
Yep.
We're going to get more narrowed down to a very specific thing. So it's not about the quality or the severity of an issue, it's about the population size.
Yeah, that's a good point. So teachers, what we want to be thinking about is we want to intervene quickly on a tier 2 or tier 3 basis, but ultimately get kids back to tier 1. So it's not a tier 1 student, it's a student receiving a tier 2 or tier 3 intervention, ultimately wanting to support all of them universally.
Yeah. I mean, if you have issues or problem populations, not to put that in a negative light, but if you've got something you need to target, the more you heal that area, the more that's going to ripple effect and improve the community overall. So if you can address the tier 3 populations, you should also move them up into tier 1 and be healing everybody along the way. Off?
Hey, that's fair. That's fair.
I love that.
You knew what it was.
I see. Josh has got my back.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So if someone does not have eLuma currently, right? If a district isn't signed up, if you're not aware of the team with eLuma, what should someone do to advocate for you? Can you come in and help a classroom if someone gets a grant? Or do we need to get you connected with district administrators, principals, things like that?
First and foremost, teachers find themselves in a position where they don't know what to do with a mental health challenge. It can be scary. There's liability that can cause concern. And then counselor teams are stretched really thin. So immediately, that's the biggest challenge or opportunity where we help, is bolstering the counseling function within a district so that teachers are supported adequately. And when kids are identified, we can build the capacity for the counseling team, intervene, help those kids with what they need, and hopefully keep them on track.
Do you folks should go into the district?
Actually don't. That's a good question too. All of our delivery is remote. It's virtual.
Cool.
So we've got an enormous network of providers that we're able to work with, and then our job is matching and then facilitating through our platform.
So in that way, you might be helping to pick populations of counselors, support people who are reaching the population you want to get into, right? If you need bilingual, if you need representation, that's what you are a part of delivering, is the expert support from your vantage point to wherever they are.
That's so important. I mean, there's a lot of different philosophies around it and approaches around it, but we believe in a consistent counselor or consistent member of the team who's joining remotely. And so we're doing needs assessment up front with the school to identify the geography, the socioeconomics, the real need of the population, and then striving to match the right fit, and then keeping that person consistent, barring any life events. I mean, of course, things happen.
It happens. We're all human.
We're all human.
The point is they have a person that they are used to, that they can come to and kind of becomes a resource for them along the way. Safe person. Okay.
Yeah, we build a hybrid course for schools. The days in which all services can be done in person on site are behind us. And that's hard to accept for some people, but it's just our reality.
Yeah.
And so our expertise that we've developed over the past decade and more is building those hybrid teams and the capacity so that people can address these with a lot more these issues, these needs with a lot more confidence.
I love that. I personally participated in mental health support, and I know that those continuity of care is important to me as a person. I love that those people who have, those professionals who have helped me were able to and present. But I get it, sometimes it doesn't work so perfectly.
Yeah.
Do you have number twos always in the wings? Do you always place more than one person in a district? Like, what's that from eLuma's side, making sure that the representation is as consistent as possible?
Our whole goal is cultivating a network of really high quality professionals. So we have about 10,000 in our network today. Not all of them are actively serving.
Sure.
But our relationships. Providers are critical to helping solve this challenge that we face. And when the time is right, we match them, we bring them in, and that can be a matter of days, that can be a matter of weeks.
Right.
On average, if a school is planning ahead and making these long-term strategic decisions in the spring, then it's like a 4 to 6 week time frame to identify the right person and to get things going. But if it's in the throes of school start and it's in the middle of all of the chaos and scheduling, it can take 8 or 10 weeks. So we really encourage schools to think about this as a strategic decision to build a hybrid force and to think of their mental health proactively across MTSS.
Okay.
I think one of those last functional questions about how you deliver this then is there's got to be a technology involved, right? So this is a professional coming in virtually. You working with like whatever existing infrastructure a district might have, or do you have a platform that they have to log into to access the service?
Yeah, it's always about taking the good things that the district has and then making sure that we use or add the missing pieces. So Insight is the name of our proprietary platform. We come in, we integrate with the school systems, and the remote providers do their case logs, their progress monitoring, and have access to reporting around efficacy and goal tracking, because it's very important that there's monitoring and transparency, especially with a workforce who isn't physically there. And that way school administrators can confidently say, these are the services our students have received.
Yep. And then you know that the students are safe. If you have to check on something, it's all available to them to protect the students and make sure that that's there. Awesome. Do the students need to go to like the nurse's office, be excused? Is there some sort of process or can they even get the service at home if it's through their district?
Yeah, they can. What typically happens though is there is a therapy station at the school with a computer, a webcam, and it's an array of different setups depending on the school. Sometimes it's a principal's office, sometimes it's a nurse's office, sometimes it's a cloffice, which is endearingly which is an endearing word for a closet. But I mean, the reality is there's different strategies, and it depends on the availability of the schools, what the school has there.
That's awesome. How do we get connected, folks? Do you just go to eLuma.com?
Easy. Yep. And then we're on all the major social platforms. Come follow us. Our objective is to connect with schools and really learn the challenges so that we can more effectively help solve the challenges. And that comes through really good dialogue. So come look at the website, contact us. We'd love to have a conversation.
Awesome. And I think you'll probably echo me in saying a nice closing, right? There's a technology, there's a service, there's a professional thing to this, but it's for the kids.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this whole thing is to make sure that the mental health of one of the largest populations of like at-risk people is as safe as it possibly can be. So if eLuma is there for kids, teachers are there for kids, we're on the same team.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. It was a blast. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, man.
Hey, it is the Hitech Podcast. Will and Josh here at FETC 2024, joined by our good friend Renee Dawson, who's been on the podcast before. How are you doing today, Renee?
I'm awesome. I'm enjoying the weather here, the conference. It's a lot. It's exciting.
Oh my God. Yeah. The traffic itself was its own issue this morning.
And there's like construction by all the cool stuff, so that takes forever to get back to the hotel. But
make the most of it.
Make the most of it. As long as nobody makes me walk a mile today, I'm okay.
Well, it is a conference.
Yeah.
So.
No, but I mean, like from the in the conference, I'm down.
Okay,
But if you tell me something's walking distance from the conference, a mile is not walking distance. That's Uber distance.
Outside the building, gravity gets worse.
Right.
That's generally how it works.
When you say around the corner, I don't mean that's not a mile is not around the corner.
I have to very quickly just lift this up. I love you made your own stickers for the session.
Yes.
They say I am tabulous.
Yes. They have a million
Because-
little heart tabs at the top.
There's so many tabs because everybody uses tabs.
Everybody uses tabs.
I love it. I love the energy you bring to
Thank you.
conference space, to the upbeat colors, just
Yes.
lifting us up. We got talking as you sat down, we're chatting, and you mentioned something called Book Creator.
Book
This is an app.
Creator. It's a web. It's an app
Web
or
app.
a web platform.
Okay, and teachers are using it to make books in their classrooms with students.
Yeah, but like not how you would think all the time.
Exactly.
Okay.
Tell us more.
Okay, so you would think that maybe a literature teacher would use it to make a book, obviously.
Yeah.
But I have an amazing sixth grade math teacher that uses it to make an interactive digital notebook for every unit she teaches in math.
Ooh.
Oh, so it's
Okay.
instructional now.
Yes.
Not just let's
Yeah,
make
okay.
something.
Not
off the
let's just make
artifact.
something pretty, but let's make something that's useful that you can use every day on the iPad or on your touchscreen Chromebook and interact with.
Awesome.
Okay.
So we want the teachers to use it to make content. We want the students to use it to make content. We want them to do it together.
We want them to do it together. We want the administrators to use it to make content.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Everyone, all the
One of
people.
our amazing digital learning specialists, Jen Hall, uses it to send us content in our
Okay.
department. Like for our tech fair, she made the student tech fair guide in it.
Well done.
So you can really, it's so versatile to use for anybody to get information out there that it can't, like, I would hate to say just students and teachers can use it because anybody can really use it.
Okay.
Like I can see it being a really cool interactive, like newsletter for an administrator to use or a tech coach to
Yeah,
use
yeah,
and put
yeah.
their stuff out there every week.
It's got a free kind of setup, premium kind of setup. There's some balance of freemium. So do you know what teachers can do for free or what they can start?
I think they can have like their own library and they have some sharing capabilities.
Maybe like limits on how many.
Yeah.
Okay.
But with the paid version, you can add collaborators to it.
Cool.
You can also make your books remixable, similar to like how Adobe Express does their remixable templates.
So I could take someone else's and like start to use myself. That's
Or
a
if you
remix,
made
or-
like my math teacher makes the shell math notebook,
Okay.
makes it a remixable template, so the students open it up and then it becomes their own. So their work is in it, and she can
Oh,
also
okay.
push pages out
Yeah.
as she wants to add more stuff.
Okay, that's pretty sick.
love
So I'm just curious, how does it work for the creating part of it? How does it work in it?
So easy. Oh my gosh, it's so easy. So the platform is gorgeous and very easy. Like click and pick what you want. It integrates with Giphy, Canva,
Yes. Yes.
animated emojis, animated stickers, all sorts of amazing features. It has audio that you can record audio on it. You can do text to speech on it. There's just really very few things you can't do with it.
Love it.
I haven't found anything besides like there's no like AI brought in yet, but I'm sure that that's coming.
Just by the time this releases in 15 minutes, like it'll be
tomorrow.
it'll
There
be-
will be. With the thing we keep joking about, Will and I want to play a game where every time we hear AI, we drink something. It might be-
Yeah.
it's,
Alcoholic or not.
Yeah,
you
or
know,
Well, if it's
water
alcoholic,
after
you can
hours.
dead.
Exactly. That was why we did not
Yeah,
play the game.
we did not play the game.
We opened
Somebody
the
did
agenda.
suggest
Maybe
we switched
water,
to
you can be really
hydrating.
hydrated.
Yeah.
That was it. And then I was
Yeah,
like, yeah,
it
but
was
then
a
I
health
wouldn't be
game.
able to sit. Still,
Right,
I would be
right.
running to the restroom all day.
You can't do coffee because then you'd be up all night.
It's just
Yeah, just nothing really. Maybe
No.
every time you like eat an M&M,
here's a good one. Every
I like
time
then you
lot of
weigh like
M&Ms.
There's an M&M store where we went last night.
I was gonna say like save 10 cents or something. Like, start a retirement
Yeah.
fund every
That's so
time you hear
adult.
AI.
M&M was way cooler. Sorry. Okay.
And
Book
you
creator. Back
Say that to me when you're in retirement.
Yeah.
So, book creator. When we think about this kind of tool, we are thinking of like making content we're going to deliver to the students. It got me like top hits where you've seen a teacher do this and the students have made a book that maybe that became popular at the school or like got used and got some notoriety.
So one of my favorite ones that we did this year, our state standards tend to spiral in social studies a little bit. So in second
method.
grade, you learn about the basics of Georgia history, and then in eighth grade, you dive deeper. So there's a lot of the same people, historical figures.
Oh,
So
okay.
our
That's
eighth
cool.
graders, writing's a struggle for a lot of our students at the school I work at. So it's perfect for them to write a book that would be read by a second grader. So they wrote these books on different Georgia historical figures, and then we sent them out to our feeder schools for the second grade kids to read.
Wow.
Okay,
So that was really cool because they could access them with the URL from Book Creator or the QR code and interact with it online, digitally. So it was really awesome for the kids to have that experience to learn from an older student.
Right.
Yeah.
They were learning. They were teaching. Everybody's using the tool. The younger ones, the older ones, like.
Well, and we're on the podcast on Hitech. We're such a big fan of collaborative learning and how students can actually learn from each other and use that. So it's super cool having students learn by being teachers. We know that honestly, at a certain level, brings you to another step, learning something when you have to teach it to someone else in some way. So that's really cool.
And they also have, I have to say, they have an amazing collection of graphic organizers that you can just click and add on the pages.
Okay.
So you can add Sphero models, Venn diagrams, all sorts of stuff. So it's really cool to make like an interactive unit notebook for social studies with like the Sphero model for different vocabulary words. Maybe like we did one for social studies 7th grade that was at different ethnic groups in the Middle East. So of course we started it with Michael Jackson's Am I Black or White? The YouTube video linked right into the book. Play YouTube directly from the book. So the kids could listen to that. And then we had the Sphero model for each word. And then we did some comic book graphic organizer templates in there that are in Book Creator, so they could make a comic of different ethnic groups interacting after they learn the vocabulary words. So it's just very there's really nothing you can't use it for.
So we're building the cultural inclusivity, building cultural awareness and competence. We're also getting them building, so they're in it doing, shaping material, learning how to get stuff on YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, just authentic experiences, rich experiences, learning experiences that we want them to have in regards to just being better humans, creating a world and society we want to be a part of.
Yeah, being content creators in a different way than they envision being content creators. Because when they think
books would be so important,
when they think content creator, they think Twitch streamer, YouTube streamer. They don't think I'm gonna be an author.
Yeah.
With this, everybody can be an author.
Yeah.
I think that's like their slogan too.
It is reducing.
Everybody can be an author. Okay, solid work. Nice work. You didn't even try that. You're like, I'm brand representing, and you're like, oh wait, that's also their slogan.
Nailed it. What would you say tomorrow for somebody to get started? Should they try and do just like a little thing? Can they just sign up with an email address? Where would you point somebody to do something tomorrow?
I would go to the Book Creator blog and download one of their pre-made remixable books, because they have them on SEL, they have them on different parts of speech, they have different grade levels, writing prompts, all sorts of great things.
I don't want to pause us, but there's actually a Book Creator person coming this direction.
We are literally
recording, about Book Creator.
Here, man, take my seat real quick.
Come
Hey, I'm Renee.
I'm Renee David.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you as well.
That's you're not just a fan, right? You actually are with Book Creator.
Yeah, I'm the community manager.
Yeah, I
for Book
emailed
Creator.
you my ambassador stuff.
Yeah.
Wonderful. We are a podcast. We're the Hitech Podcast.
I love
Renee
it.
is a friend of the podcast.
Excellent.
We've had her on before. We were just talking about Book Creator because she's an ambassador.
Hopefully.
Yes, she is. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, my.
We are recording.
She's fascinating right now. I don't know. She's doing well.
I will be after this.
Yeah. The question that's amazing. I was like, Josh is pointing his
I'm
fingers.
trying to point. We're literally recording right now, talking about you guys.
I love it. I
This
love
is
it.
amazing. We were just asking Renee the last question of kind of a wind down question. So where do folks start with Book Creator tomorrow? She's giving us some insights for what she's told her teachers and such.
Yeah, I said to start on the blog with some of the remixable books on there.
Yep.
So I was talking about how we use it in math a lot for content delivery, and just getting started with our students. We just usually let them play with it. Just get in and be creative as you want.
Yeah.
Get started.
Yeah. We often like to talk about trickle releasing tech responsibilities to students.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot of books that are designed to be played with, about identity, about who I am, and they're great for introducing the technical side of the tool, while also probably checking off other boxes in your classroom, getting to know students, building rapport, letting them play, have fun.
Is it bookcreator.com right on the t-shirt, folks? Yes, it is bookcreator.com. That's amazing. That's where folks should go to get started. I just love this. This is why you record things live at a conference to see what happens.
Yeah, you never know. Once you get on Book Creator, you can sign up for a free account. And then once you're logged into the app.bookcreator.com, there's a Discover tab. And that is probably what you were talking about. a bunch of remixable resources where you can go. We sort them by subject, like literacy, with tons of literacy resources.
Love it.
And then also getting started and things like that. So
Yeah,
That's awesome.
and it's so easy. Like when you remix a template for the students to use, it's so easy for them to join it and quickly get into the book and start building their own content or using the content that's in there.
Do the students need accounts?
So the students' accounts are created through the teacher. So everything is linked through the teacher.
Okay.
So they're not on making books like they might have access to Google Drive, or they can just make whatever they want.
Sure.
So they have access to the libraries you give them access to,
Great.
and the books that you give them access to.
Okay,
Great.
super cool.
Yeah. So there's that good safety measure right there.
I
And
love
Renee
that.
was talking just for a second about giving the students to the book, or the book to the student. And we've just released 2 brand new features. One is assign books.
Yes.
So you can click on a book and just assign it to students or classes, which is great. It makes each person a copy. Before, we had to share a remixable link, and then the student needed to say yes. And LMS integration. So if you're grading or assigning via your LMS, you can now pull up Book Creator and do it right in your speed grader. It's coming out. Just dropped for FETC.
Okay.
And then we're also really excited about central libraries. So if you think, one of the things that teachers will often say is, my students want to take their books with them. So they'll build up a pretty decent library, or they'll start working on a portfolio. But because the student is linked to the teacher, then as they get new teachers, they've lost some of those older books unless the teacher's finagling it. Now you can create a central library so that all the students' books created with them will just travel with that email address until they're finished. So super excited.
This couldn't have
about
like
that as
worked out any better. Like honestly,
We're done. We're gonna just walk off the conference. There's nothing else for us to record. This has been perfect. That's wonderful. Is there anything else that we were going over some use cases? We were going over
And you're speaking to an expert for that.
how teachers are using it, how we want to encourage its use. Anything that we need to know from Book Creator besides that? We got how to get in. We know what's coming new and
Pretty
what's
sweet
fresh.
features.
Yeah.
I basically told him that there's really nothing you can't do with Book Creator because I haven't found a teacher that's come to me and said I want to do this, and Book Creator hasn't been the answer.
We're really proud of that too. We try to keep things simple in our interface. So we pride ourselves in accessibility. We pride ourselves in the features and how they align with things like UDL, and really the students that are on the edges of the classroom that need them with support. So you can type with your voice, you can search with your voice, you can record video, audio, all those different types of things. Yeah, it's a fantastic way of just reaching everyone and making sure there's equity in your classroom and that tech space, which we know can be really daunting when there's 1,000 menu options and too many features. So
A few of those kinds of things. Well, folks, that's
well, they're excited about
That's
UDL
fair.
That was
too.
all about Book
Aren't
Creator.
we?
We're super excited about that too.
well done. Well said. Thank you both for
Yeah, of
joining us.
course.
Thank you for starting with us,
Yes.
Renee, and stepping into the hot seat.
Absolutely,
David. Well
yeah.
done. This
I
has been
love the hot
amazing. We're gonna wrap up here, but we'll keep the conversation
Yeah.
and relationships going from here.
It's Will and Josh with the Hitech Podcast. We're very excited to be here with Amy Dujon, who is the Vice President of
Education for district administration.
Wonderful. And district administration is a very cool new thing that we're learning about
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, and
Just-
Live and in
No, we're
person.
supposed to pretend like we always knew what it was.
Exactly.
like
And
a happy accident.
Yeah.
That, you know,
it's a
that's
very
what
happy accident.
it's a happy accident.
Bob Ross, for those who don't get it.
Yeah.
What does DA administration do in regards to teachers and where we are right now?
So that I'm so glad you asked. So we're sitting right now in our VIP destination lounge at the Future of Education Technology Conference in Orlando. All right.
Brilliant.
And this conference is like the cutting edge of all of the tools and the toys and the things that teachers want to have in their hands
Yep.
to make learning engaging, to help, you know, monitor and track kids, early warning systems, like ways that they can track data, but like robotics and VR and all of those things that you're like, I want to go play.
There were a
I
lot
wanna
of
do
toys
this.
here.
So many toys to play with. So many toys.
We're excited. We're going to the expo
Yeah.
hall
You'll have
after
to
We
this.
just got done with a
and get-
VR interview, so Will and I are psyched up on tech.
I am telling you, if you were a teacher, it is like a teacher's playground down there right now.
Yes,
So fun.
That's amazing. So it's I'm going to settle a quick debate. It's been in my head for the last
Sure.
48
Yeah.
hours. FETC or FETC?
FETC.
FETC.
No, FETC. Yeah.
Oh,
So a 41-year history, right? So
Yeah.
FETC started actually as a Florida-only conference.
okay.
So it was
Okay.
a state-based conference called the Florida Educators Technology Conference. And it grew so big, we started drawing from other states
Yeah.
that it became a national conference. And so thus the name changed to the Future of EdTech,
Yeah.
which is awesome. Yeah, and we have a ton of people here.
Yeah.
What are we looking for teachers that want to come and do this? So if we need to get somebody here, are they going to get professional development? Are they just going to see the toys? What's the sessions? What's going on?
So one thing I love so much about this conference is that there's everything from workshops, like full day workshops,
Yep.
half day, like mega sessions, but also if I just want to get into some different like rooms and just do like quick 60-minute sessions and learn from some, like great speakers or other districts and the practices that they're doing, then that's what's here for you. And then there's also the toys, right? So it's
right.
professional development. You're going to get, you're going to walk away with your CEU credits so that when you're getting ready to do your certificate renewal, we're capturing all that for you and we give that back to you, which is nice.
Yeah.
So it's a nice mix of let's see what's out there and things that maybe I didn't know are happening that I might be interested in having in my classroom.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then what are hearing from practitioners and other like district teachers, leaders, how they're actually implementing things in their classroom, like lessons learned that they can take back from them, which is really neat.
Yeah, that lines up with what I've been seeing. We've been to a bunch of different conferences at different times, and I've been very impressed with the difference of what's here. Like we walked into a session yesterday thinking it was a session, and there's like a billion tables, and Will and I were like, I think we got this one wrong. But there was super cool stuff there. It was it was a round table multi-day session.
We were
really cool.
like, oh, we want to go see this session, and we didn't realize it was one of the tables. And the whole, I was like, wow, the room's packed.
This room's packed.
There's everything from memes and VR to podcasting to Snapchat and algorithmic learning. Like, I don't even know.
I think it's so funny. And I think teachers get this more than like our leaders do in their buildings. And not that leaders don't do it. I think we get a little afraid as adults when new technology comes out, right? But our teachers are usually like the first to kind of embrace it. And our students definitely are, right?
Right.
So things like AI, like that's a hot topic this year because it's funny. We've had things like AI, right? I mean, Alexa is AI. Like that's what that is. We've been living with it. But we have like gotten so afraid of it. It's like, no, these kids are never living without this. As teachers, we're going to have to shift our mindset to say, okay, how do I teach kids to use it responsibly? How do I now shift like that? And so using the power of technology, and that's what we do here is like, how do we take those things and say, nope, let's flip the script. This is an opportunity. It's not a problem or a barrier.
Yeah.
I had a 20-something-year-old person recently say to me, oh, I grew up with the internet, insinuating I hadn't.
I am older than the internet.
As a millennial.
I would just like to say that I am older than the internet and older than Google, and that is disgusting. It's disgusting.
I wrote the internet you live in, child. Like there was a little bit of like,
yeah.
But to the point of that, we bear a responsibility going forwards.
1,000%.
Integrate this into the classroom experience, because if we don't, they're going to be figuring it out in an unsafe environment.
That's right.
Without protection, without guidance, without support. Like I think things like VR, things like digital citizenship, things like social media. Are a part of education.
Digital
We can't
literacy is
separate
huge.
them.
Yeah, that is one of the biggest things that we have got to start focusing on. Not only regular literacy, but that digital literacy and how do I interact responsibly? How do I learn how to judge and make good judgments of knowing whether or not something is accurate or not, whether it's valid or not. And so those are the critical thinking skills. We've always wanted kids to be critical thinkers, right? As teachers, that's our job, problem solvers, critical thinkers. But now it's around becoming a critical thinker with so much at my fingertips at one time.
Yes.
And really helping kids to understand like what is a reliable versus non-reliable source, right? And how do we use those things?
Yeah, and it's so much more than just Googling anymore. But I think that's why the fear of AI. We've talked about a lot about AI on our podcast. I think part of the reason fear pops up with AI is it's realizing, well, all these issues we've kind of not fully dealt with are about to get extremely worse unless we figure out how to work with our students and teach our students how to judge these resources and how to find and think critically about information, any information at this point you're being given, because half the stuff we're Googling now can be AI generated, and it is. It was even before this came out.
A lot of the things that ChatGPT comes out with, like you've got to go and validate. Like, okay, let me see. I have a son who's in college. He's like, I wanted to see what would happen if I used it to write a paper. And I was like, well, I really hope you didn't turn it in. I hope you checked all your sources, right? Teachers, that's what we need you to do. Teach kids how to check their sources, and find out what's reliable. So
ChatGPT at least may still be doing, but like some of the first months, the jokes were like, it was making up sources.
It was
actually doing citations that were just,
well, and it's also impressive at the level that we were testing. So we design online courses where I'm at, and we were testing a couple of our prompts to see how things worked. And it answered back on a prompt. And the guy who was with me was the teacher who had like helped write the book. And he was like, that sounds like it's from the book. And he's like looking it up. He's like, that's not
it just made up its own quote that sounds like the
Sounds
author
like
based
it.
on quotes on the internet, and it was just
Yeah.
very interesting. It almost fooled the guy who helped co-write it.
That's
And that
insane,
was
right? Amazing.
yeah.
So we've got all these opportunities. We got how we can get into this. We've been seeing every other line almost is AI in the sessions.
Yeah.
People are here at FETC and they are trying to take this on. We're trying to learn together,
Yeah.
trying to move forwards. Is there anything that we need to be thinking about with FETC moving forwards, right? So this episode is going to hit us here in 2024. Do we have 2025 figured out?
We
Are there
do.
learning opportunities leading up to it?
So that's what's really exciting. I would like encourage any of your teacher listeners or watchers that are out there. Like we are always looking, like the call for proposals will come out, right? If you're doing something super cool
Great.
in your classroom, if there's something that's happening, especially around technology or a way that you're integrating AI or ChatGPT or any of those things that are right now like hitting, we want that. Those are the sessions we want. That those are the things people want to learn from you.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of content we try to provide here. So I would say, number one, get registered right away for 25 as soon as registration opens. Number two, check on when that call for proposals is coming because we want actual practitioners giving those sessions, being the experts in the room.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so when is it next year?
So next year it is January again, right back here in Orlando. So we will be here in Orlando in 2025. So not hard to imagine how
Keep
amazing it's
planning.
going to be,
Keep
right?
planning. I'm going to do a small pivot.
Okay.
So you're also a part of district administration. We said that on the
Yeah.
front end. If folks are looking for more of that development towards principal, development
Yeah.
towards tech leaders in their districts, that's something that's focusing on, correct?
We do. So our leadership institute has academies, right, for folks that are either aspiring tech leaders
Great.
or aspiring principals, sitting principals of that nature, where we really just dig in, and that's more of like a cohort type station. We
Great.
come together, we join like a family, and it's really around building you as a leader, helping you understand what your leadership type is, your style, how you can move change, right? How do you do those things when you?
Great.
How do you act in a crisis, in a conflict? How do you react? Problem solving.
Don't
But-
do that anymore.
But like giving what leaders need and teacher leaders too, it's like we need to give people frameworks so that when issues come up, I have a framework to attack a problem, right? I'm not just addressing
What
it
we
as
do
it's
with
coming
lesson
up.
plans.
Right. It's
Yeah.
the same thing.
We
It's a
always need a
framework.
framework. It helps us
Yeah.
get into it.
It helps us make sense of the
And
things that are in front of us.
It
Yeah.
does, right? It's a thinking map. And so that's one of the things we try to give to our attendees, right? Is that we give them the frameworks and the tools that they need to go back and be successful regardless of their context.
Yep. Josh and I represent corporate learning, adult learning, higher education. We've got many
Yeah.
contact in K-12. So we're sitting at the moment. Sorry. We're sitting here.
I would not be this tall if I was thinking, to be honest.
as testaments that FETC is delivering content that's relevant to the K-12 educator,
Yes.
the higher education educator,
Yes.
the corporate learner.
Yes.
There's stuff that I'm looking at, corporate instructor, designer, facilitator, like I'm finding this stuff relevant to my day job. So what that poses for us as the opportunity is get involved with FETC,
Yes.
come out, all teachers, all levels, all kinds.
Everyone.
And then if you're someone looking for that aspiration leadership position,
Right.
where do they go for district administration?
DA Leadership Institute is the site for you. So it's just district administration leader or DALeadershipinstitute.com.
Okay.
That's where we are. Come and find us. We would love to provide some opportunities for you to grow.
Very cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Amy.
thank
You guys,
for
this has been amazing. I really appreciate
Perfect.
it.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, folks, so this is the end of our series of episodes from FETC 2024. I hope you enjoyed meeting all of our new friends, meeting some of our old friends anew. I loved, Josh, I just absolutely loved the moment in our interview with Renee where book creator walked into the shot.
Yep.
And just joined the interview. I mean, so many highlights like that of organic relationships coming together, folks meeting each other. And Renee and if I recall off the top of my head, it was David. Forgive me if that's wrong. They didn't know each other yet. That was the first time they were meeting. But Renee is a big fan of Book Creator, and it was just perfectly timed. We couldn't have tried, and we couldn't have done better if we had tried. So
yeah, I swear, listeners, that was not scripted. We had no idea that they were coming. We were just set up at a table in the middle of nowhere. Well, not in the middle of nowhere. It was in the middle of everything. So that would make sense. It would be different if we were like in a desert and like Book Creator just showed up. First of all, I don't know why we're interviewing Renee in a desert, but also like that would be
why
crazy.
was Book Creator there?
Yeah, it's all stuff. Yeah, no, that was probably one of my favorite moments of the experience. I think there's a lot of cool stuff. You and I learned a lot about Class VR and got very interested in what they're doing, and I think it's really cool what they're trying to do to make VR more affordable. And Shoelace, like, just their whole gaming idea and like taking that and trying to connect it with reading and resourcing, I think is a really cool concept. You know, Will and I are suckers for any kind of like game melding concept into what you're doing with education, so I was loving that. I'm super excited about what Jonathan's doing over at Antimatter with Sorcerer. First of all, Jonathan, as we said in the interview, fantastic name, and it will always be. Your names will always be the best. So I'm super excited about what that tool's doing. Yeah, it's hard to encapsulate everything that I think we learned from that conference, because there was just a lot of relationship, a lot of conversations. You know, if I heard AI mentioned, you know, wasn't a surprise. You know, it was
everywhere.
Yeah. I think it reinforced for me the pervasiveness of AI, and how we do have to take it seriously. Like it's everywhere. And just going to these tech conferences shows that it's everywhere being used. So it's not something you're going to be able to avoid in teaching. We're going to have to deal with it in some way or another.
I'm gonna do a quick blitz here. I'm gonna say thank you to everyone. All right, I'm gonna do a rundown. I think I've got the list. This is dramatic. Like I could literally
pressure.
Forget someone.
If you miss someone, they're gonna hate you.
I hope not to. So sorry if I did. You were in the episode, so hopefully that's a thank you enough. But here's the double down thank you. And then Josh, you can think about where we kind of critically wrap this whole series up in just a second.
I'm also going to be watching for mistakes, so no pressure.
Oh, I can't. Well, hey, don't watch for mistakes. Look for opportunities to assist me. Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Just joking. And then I gotta add 2 names there. Yep. Got it.
He was buying time so he could figure out all the names, because this is not prepped. If we had show notes, that would make more sense. But you know, we're doing this off the cuff.
In no particular order, okay? No order, and this is probably not how the episodes went, but here's everybody. I think. Class VR, Chris Klein, thank you for the time. Thank you for wearing orange and just being awesome. Easy to see, but Class VR and the Eduverse doing awesome things. Antimatter, Jonathan Lebov, great friend. Appreciate your connection to the podcast already, being on an episode in the past, but also just bringing memes and fun everywhere. Shoelace, you literally walked up to us, Lauren, and bumped into us like, so what are you guys doing? And then sat down and joined the podcast. Perfect. Sphero. We walked up to the booth. We knew nothing about Sphero. Okay, I knew it did robots, but literally I said to them, I was like, hey, I think it's about kids, right? And they're like, no, we go all the way from K to 12. And that's the content you got to see, us walking from station to station and getting imagery of all that. So awesome. eLuma. Gonna be frank with you. Knew nothing about it. Had never heard about eLuma. Had no idea what it was. A PR person reached out to us, very excited to then meet them and find out that their services and their work is being done for mental health and mental health support for students across K-12. We love that. Thank you, eLuma. Quiz is. We had a quick stop by their booth. We got to see Monica there, Monica Roach, and she's now a friend on Twitter. We hope to have Monica on the podcast in the future. Book Creator. We mentioned before, David popped in on that conversation with Renee, but Book Creator was also there at their booth. We got to spend some time talking about that, and there might even be some more AI stuff coming in the future with David. Beanstack. We got to spend time with Beanstack's team. We learned about literacy and what that is and how they're improving literacy with their tool for young students across K-12. Amy Dujon. Amy is the VP of Education, if I got that right, of the District Administrative Leadership Institute. I think that's DALI, but more specifically at ETC, the company that's running FETC. So we got to sit down with the person who runs the entire thing. We're very thankful for Amy. More specifically, Suzanne, who is Amy's sister, rubbed elbows and just had some fun with a cool person. That's how it all met. We just made a joke with somebody randomly, and suddenly we're in the VIP lounge talking to Amy. So thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Amy, for taking the time. Monica again, Renee, of course, Christy, we bumped into you. We came to your session. Christy, you're the best. Thank you for being on the podcast in the past, being on the podcast in the future. It's going to happen. And for presenting such awesome information at the conference itself. A shout out to the AI educator, Dan Fitzpatrick. He, just amazing. We didn't get to meet him. We didn't get to talk to him, but his keynote was great. And he presented at FETC and then flew back to the UK to present at BET the next day. So he presented back-to-back days at two of the largest educational technology conferences in the world. It's just awesome. And last but not least, unless I forgot somebody, so Josh will find an opportunity to help me after I finish this. Jesse and Katie from ETC, they were the big supports for us as podcasters, as media at the conference. They had a space for us. They had food for us. They had resources for us. So big thanks to Jesse and Katie who helped us even get there and participate and create all this content. So wow, that's everybody who we recorded and engaged with and bumped into and all this, and probably more people than that. But then very most and last, they're like Jesse and Katie for doing the work to help us podcasters be a part of FETC in such a big and tangible way for us. We hope it's been impactful to the FETC community, to EdTech, to educators, but we were just wowed by all the opportunities there for us. So did I miss?
I think you nailed it. I think, I'm not counting some of the groups we did shorts with that weren't actually an episode. So, like we did talk to Topia. But, I
love Topia.
We did a short with them. We didn't actually get to do content because
Sophie,
we're going to do content with them later.
Sophie,
and Sophie. Oh, you forgot. Oh, man. See, I didn't even call you on that one. And we will hear about that one. That is what we will.
Sophie.
We will definitely hear about that. Yes. See, there's just so many people. I think, like, if I could give that idea, there's just... What we love about those conferences is getting to meet teachers on the ground, meeting people at the apps and stuff who really care about what's happening with teaching and how we're doing it. And we just got to meet a lot of cool people. So we're really thankful for all of you that we got to interact with, that either talked with us or got a chance to give us some content to work through. We did some shorts with, which, by the way, if you're listening to this and we didn't mention that at any point during the series, you haven't checked those out, go to YouTube and check out. There is other content that's not in this episode, or in these episodes. Shorts that we did with some of the people at booths and stuff. Like Topia is one. We did a little bit of a short showing some of their new features. Main reason we didn't have them in the actual episode is because Will and I want to have them back for an actual episode, so we're going to bring them back for some of that stuff. But some super exciting stuff. Definitely worth checking out. And if you ever get a chance to go to one of these types of conferences, I encourage you to do it. There's a lot of interesting technology from a teaching side that you get to see. You get to see what other teachers are doing. There were plenty of sessions with other teachers sharing what they're doing with technology and how they're using it. Like Christy, who's a friend of the podcast, her session was great. She showed tons of examples about how she's using AI to enhance what she was already doing as a teacher. And so those are great examples and what they are. So again, like Will said, I hope you learned something from what we had some fun with what Will and I were doing. But that was our experience at FETC. I hope you guys liked it. But with that said, we are done for this series in this episode. And I realized I left the page I need to be on to tell me what's happening next, so I'm about to do that really quickly.
I don't know if it's going to prove anything for you.
Yeah, here we go. There we go. We are going to be having somebody from Edmentium on the episode 138 next week on the Hitech Podcast. We are super excited about that. Check that out on episode 138 next week. As per usual, check us out on our socials, Twitter and YouTube at Hitech Podcast. Again, we are hoping this year to be producing more content through YouTube, so go check that out. You'll be seeing some special content on YouTube that you don't get in some of the other places on our podcast. So you can check that out. Again, email us at inbox@hitechpod.us if you want to get a hold of us, you want to be on the podcast, you want to connect. If you're listening to this episode and we saw you at FETC and you want to connect afterwards, email us there, like we said, and we'd be happy to connect with you and talk about being on the podcast. And then also check us out at hitechpod.us. That's our website. We post plenty of resources about our apps and connections on the website there, so go check that out. Again, thank you for joining us for another week as we continue to learn what it looks like to harness technology in the classroom, whether online, in Florida, or in person. See ya.
See ya.